Fannie Mae just released a survey that is shockingly bad for the economy, shockingly bad for the housing market, and frankly, shows me why this group, One Rental at a Time, is special. It shows that we understand what's actually going on, how to create opportunity, and the masses are idiots. What do I mean? Fannie Mae just released a survey with all kinds of data that we will go through, but we're going to start with the one that I think is shockingly inaccurate and just goes to show why we are unique. And that is this: 73% of U.S. consumers surveyed said it is a bad time to buy a home. And I think that is batshit crazy. I think that is completely wrong. In fact, I think it is backwards. If you were to ask me what I'm seeing in the housing market, what my audience is seeing in the housing market, I would actually say it is a horrible time to sell a home. This is not a bad time to buy a home, folks. This is a bad time to sell a home. If you do what we do at One Rental at a Time, you are tracking days on market. You're writing disrespectful offers 15, 20, 25, and some of you 30% below list price. You're shopping for motivated sellers. And never forget, we are following up. This is a buyer's market. Buyer's markets are amazing times to buy homes. But again, the masses, the media will never get this. They will continually spout inaccuracies. Again, this is not a bad time to buy. It is, in fact, the best time to buy a home in the last 12 years. This buyer's market is the first buyer's market I've seen in 12 years. This is our time. This is what we look for. Fannie Mae, U.S. consumers are wrong. But again, we want less competition. So Fannie Mae, the mass media, keep telling, frankly, keep screaming, it's a bad time to buy. In my community, we'll keep writing disrespectful offers. We will keep shopping for motivated sellers, and we will do great deals of the decade, and maybe a few of us, deals of a lifetime. That is what we do. That is what we are about. We are about shopping when everybody is scared. So again, let's have some fun. So some other data that came from Fannie Mae, again, a lot of data here. 68% think the U.S. economy is on the wrong track. When I see things like that, I always ask, compared to what? Kind of a Jason Hartman thing. What was it 2 years ago? And I'm going to guess 67% of us thought the economy was on the wrong track. So again, these numbers look high, they look scary, but again, until we have context or we see significant divergence, it is not anything to look at. How about this one? When they ask the American consumer about your personal finances in 1 year, 32% thought their finances would improve. 23% thought it would get worse, leaving 45% little changed. Again, I ask you, do you think your finances will be better in a year or not? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to see where my audience is at. 57% of folks think it is believe it is a good time to sell. Folks, this is not a good time to sell. You all are wrong. The fact that nearly 6 out of 10 people think it's a good time to sell just shows how uninformed we are. This is perhaps the worst time to sell a home I've seen in 12 years. It's the exact opposite. This is a horrible time to be a seller. Unless the house is perfect, move-in ready, below the median, in a growing city. It's tough out there. You don't want to be a seller. You want to be a buyer in markets like this. 40% of us think home prices will rise over the next 12 months. Consumers expect rents to grow by 6% year on year. So again, these are all surveys asking for our opinions in the future. Again, I go back to the fact that the average American is just shockingly wrong. Again, the housing market today is an amazing time to be a buyer if you do the work, track the numbers, write disrespectful offers, and follow up. It is also a horrible time to sell. Ask flippers, ask wholesalers. It is a horrible time to sell. So something we're going to walk into starting tomorrow is earnings season. So let's highlight some of the big earnings. As always, the big banks start us off. Tomorrow will be JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citi, and Goldman Sachs, followed by the others on Wednesday, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, PNC, and then United Airlines. Again, I expect the big banks to do what big banks do. They're going to be fine. They're going to have some, reserves for bad debt. They probably have some charge-offs. They're going to beat top and bottom line. Again, it's a very managed business. Thursday will be Charles Schwab, U.S. Bank Corp, very, very much finance focused this week. Friday being American Express, Ally, and Fifth Third. We also will get a sprinkling of community banks throughout the week. Those are the banks I'm looking at. I think the big seven banks are fine. It's going to be the community banks, the ones that are exposed to different regions of the country. They're going to be the ones that show cracks first. So again, the big banks, not concerned about, but it's the community banks that we may be reporting on if we get some shockingly bad numbers. I do want to let you know about a premiere video coming out today at 4 p.m. It is a premiere. It is an 84-minute presentation on how to get wealthy. I believe getting wealthy is 3 steps. It is a presentation that you may have seen on this channel before, but without the slide deck. You will now see all of the slides that I have. My school community was gracious enough to let me do that yesterday. So we went for 84 minutes, and love to get your feedback, your thoughts. Again, I think getting wealthy today is 3 steps, a 10-year process. I think getting wealthy is nothing more than math and time. In the video, get a notepad because I give you 3 or 4 action items, homework assignments, however you want to look at it, homework or action items. I ask you to do a couple of things, and I would love you to watch that, love you to give me feedback, and let me know what you think. That would be wonderful. Realtor.com's chief economist Danielle Hall flagged a rare buying window. And I love bold calls. I love it when people step up and make a call that could go wrong. She is saying that the best buying window of the year has just started. In fact, she says this week, October 12th to October 18th, will be the best week of 2025 to buy a home. Again, she's looking at active inventory because inventory starts to roll over. She's looking at days on market. So again, according to Danielle Hall, this is the best week to write aggressive, what I would call disrespectful offers before we get into the holiday season. We get more delistings and inventory falls. Lawrence Yun, National Association of Realtors chief economist, thinks we might have a second spring. Again, we've talked about that on this channel. We never named it something so sexy, but that is exactly what we talked about. We talked about the fall market being stronger than expected because we had such a dud of a spring market. It will be very interesting to see these September numbers because, again, I called August as the bottom and that September 2025 will be better than 24 and 23. I think we should know in about 2 weeks if I'm right or if I am wrong. But again, according to Lawrence Yun, we may have a second spring. I just thought we'd have a busy fall. Don't know if you guys get Business Insider, but Olivia and I were featured in an article just the other day called How to Build a Portfolio of Cash Flow Rentals. Again, shout out to the team at Business Insider. We always love trying to help people and motivate them. Again, Business Insider, How to Build a Portfolio of Cash Flowing Rentals was a very nice article and really honed in on things that Olivia and I believe. So if you've read it or haven't, let us know what you think. That would be great. Don't know if you know this, but all cash offers are dominating the market according to Realtor.com. In fact, we were nearly at a record 32.8% of transactions in the first half of 2025 were all cash. The record, for context, is 34%. So again, we were nearly at a record. As for the states, this is new data. I've never seen this data before. Mississippi at 49.6, almost 50% of transactions in Mississippi are all cash. That is shockingly high, in my opinion. New Mexico came in at 48.8, Montana 46, and Maine at 44.4. I can't believe there are entire states where more than 40% of transactions are cash. I actually don't know these states at all. I'm going to guess all of these are below the median. That's just a guess. I think Mississippi might have the lowest median home price, but I'll look at that later. Scott Bessent is talking U.S. Bitcoin reserve. Don't know if you've heard this, but all the Bitcoin maxis are blowing up my X or Twitter feed, talking about Scott Bessent's private dinner. Currently, I don't know if you know this, but the U.S. has a Bitcoin reserve. It is not buying Bitcoin currently. Bitcoin is accumulated via forfeiture, basically criminal activity. And obviously, folks in the Bitcoin community would love the U.S. to actually buy Bitcoin. But at the moment, they're just accumulating, not selling Bitcoin. Don't know if you saw it this morning, but silver just hit $50. Yes, folks, silver just hit $50 an ounce. Gold is over 4,000. The transition out of the U.S. Treasuries, U.S. dollar denominated debt is real. And again, you're seeing that in commodities. Folks, if you are a fan of The Uneducated Economist, Simon and I will be going live in school this Sunday at 8 a.m. I just reminded myself I have to create that Zoom link. So let me write that down. So again, Simon, Uneducated Economist, will be going live inside school at 8 a.m. on Sunday. So I hopefully will see you there. If you ever wanted to ask questions of Simon, the Uneducated Economist, this is your time. Again, Sunday at 8 a.m. We will see you there. Since we're talking about school, let's shout out our one new member from yesterday, Sean. Sean, thank you for joining. Saw that you've been very active already. I think you've already got up to level 3, so congratulations. You've unlocked all of those goodies. Again, folks, most of you, when I talk about getting wealthy, admit that you need new friends. You need a friend group. I'm giving you that with school. It's kind of a pay to play, I guess, 67 pennies a day to go find 5 amazing new friends, all moving in the same direction. There is no better place to do it than school. We are having more and more companies like Bank of America, Goldman, and the like look at our job market because the BLS data did not come out, and the labor market is weak. In September, the survey from Bank of America said the labor market has continued to slow and rising unemployment claims. In October, for example, year-on-year percentage rise in unemployment payments was around 10%. This is not good. Again, Bank of America looked at all of their customers and said that unemployment checks, right, the stuff that gets auto-deposited, is up 10%. If that's happening at Bank of America, you can bet it's happening at Wells Fargo and JP Morgan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, folks, it is weak out there. This will lead to an October rate cut and quite possibly a December rate cut. Last little bit of news, actually 2. We'll do 2. Q3, there were 202,118 layoffs. That is up 16% year on year. And then shout out Lance Lambert, highlighting that unsold completed homes is at a 15-year high. Yes, a 15-year high, 124,000. The last peak was July 2009 at 126,000. I shouldn't say peak because it was much higher than that, but the last time unsold completed homes were higher was 2009, July 2009 at 126. So again, obviously the most damaged markets are Florida and Texas. Again, those two states are having a wave of completed homes. This is not a national phenomenon dominated by two states. Hope you have an amazing day, folks. Take care. Like, subscribe, comment. It really does help out the channel. Whoa, somebody just told me silver is 52. I did not check this, but I trust Michael is watching, maybe CNBC. 52. Wow, that's crazy. All right, take care. Have fun. We'll be back tomorrow, 7:30. And don't forget, if you are a landlord, you owe it to yourself to give Steadily a chance. They are only landlord insurance. They are focused only on the landlord. So again, insurance is going up around the country. Reach out to Steadily, get a quote, see if they can help you. They've helped me about 50% of the time. Take care. Later.